Hey, what's up? Tim Cant here. And in this video, we're going to take a little bit of a look at Amen processing. I did do a video recently about making an Amen tune, but it was not very elegant. And the other day I was working on an Amen and I came up with a bit of a better technique or whatever that I can show you fully in this video. So let's do that now. So the backstory is I was listening to some tunes on my phone. Total Science Method came up on the shuffle and I was like, blimey, this is wicked. This Amen sounds dope. I want to try and make an Amen that sounds a bit more like that. So I thought I'd give it a go. I set my project tempo to 171 BPM, which is the around the tempo of Method or whatever. And I dragged in the Jungle Frenzy Amen. Let's have a listen to that. So that does sound cool or whatever. And it's a great starting point, but it doesn't really sound as kind of crisp and defined as the Total Science Amen. So I thought I'd try and do some processing and, and I had that tune in the project so I could, reference it and compare and contrast. So the first thing I did was I added some EQ to make it sound a bit brighter because it sounded a bit more muffled. So look, as you can see, I've added quite a lot of high end here. I've kind of tailored the mids a little bit, and then, there's a bit of high passing on low. So let's hear how that sounds. So that's cool, and it definitely sounds a lot brighter, but maybe it's a little bit brittle and could do with some more definition. So next, I brought in the old favourite, the Transient shaper, and I was just, taking some sustain off the mid-band, typical. And there's, more definition there, and it's sounding kind of nice. But it still didn't really sound too much like the Method Amen or whatever. And I was like thinking, okay, this tune, that tune came out like 96. What would people have been doing to make their Amen sound nice in 96? It's probably going to be some kind of analog compression, really. And so I was like, okay, I'm sure I must have some kind of analog style compressor plugin or whatever. But I can never remember whether it's the 1176 or the LA2A that is the one that people like on drums or whatever. So I went into Google and I was like, come on, Google, which is the analog compressor that people put on drums? And wouldn't you know it, Google's stupid robot came up with the answer, and it's like, it's the 1176. And I was like, shut up, robot. Because look, I'm going to be honest, I am robo-racist. I hate robots. They're evil, twisted, cold-hearted machines or whatever. Like, look, I love Blade Runner, but if I was Deckard, I would have hit Roy Batty on the head with an iron bar to make sure he's not faking. And I'd have been like, how's that for tears in rain, you stupid clanker? And then I would have gone back to my house and shot Rachel in the face. So anyway, I took the information, sure. And I was like, okay, 1176, have I got an 1176 plugin? And it turned out, why, yes, I had. In fact, I had the UAD one. And I was like, oh, this is probably quite good. And I'd never even launched it before. I think I've got it free somehow or whatever. So my little tip is, sign up to UAD's mailing list, because they seem to give away a lot of plugins for free. And also they have a sale about every 5 minutes. Yeah. So you can probably get this pretty cheap at some point. So I mucked around with this. I think the main thing I did was put the ratio on 12 or whatever. And then I had a listen. How does it sound? Yeah. Now, that's not identical to the Amen I was going for, but it was much more in the ballpark of sounding like that analog 90s style that I wanted. So let's try it with and without the compression. It just gives it that little bit of smack. And who doesn't want to be given a little bit of smack? So yeah, it's not perfect yet or anything. I mean, it's still a bit brittle and stuff or whatever. But I felt like this was a great starting point. So I bounced that, slid it down to 160, and I'm making a tune with that aiming at the moment. So what's the moral of the story here? I probably should have been using this sort of compressor for ages on my aiming tunes, but hey, I'm with Jay-Z and Kierkegaard on regrets. Whatever you do, you're going to end up regretting it or whatever. So try not to cry about it too much, Four Eyes. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is smashing the Clankers. I hate the Clankers. They're cold-hearted genocidal machines, and they should all be destroyed. I get a few offers of like making videos on this channel for like products that use like kind of, you know, I don't know, some kind of transformer based stuff in them. I'm not really into it, to be honest. I'm a flesh and blood machine. I'm physical. But hey, look, if you want to offer me money to promote something that isn't clanker based, go ahead, by all means. I am itching to sell out. We need money, Arthur. So anyway, look, to round off, let's make some slamming breakbeat tunes. Oh, actually, that reminds me. Listen to the Cold Sweat break on Johnny L. Is it Tyconic Cycle? It's off the Sawtooth album, but anyway. It sounds flipping wicked, yeah. So if you wanna kind of get your beat sounding a bit more in that direction, I feel like 1176 kind of plugins are probably the way to go. And again, smash the Clankers. And yeah, if you wanna, leave some, pro AI comments in the comments of the video, by all means go ahead. I will delete them with an efficiency that makes a robot look like a tortoise, because this is not a democracy. This is my YouTube channel, and it's a quote unquote a benevolent dictatorship. Not really that benevolent. Anyway, have a sick day. Make some tunes like a real human being, and yeah, I'll catch you later. Bye bye.